All right, welcome to the final part of the wall slammer escape game. We finished a level manager. We finished a restart game. We finished our pooler. We have nothing left of our plan. We're going to add player animations. We're going to make custom sprites. We're going to replace wall graphics. What else are we going to do in this video really quick? We are going to camera follow and camera shake, I think. And I think that's it for now. Yeah, so let's bring in our custom images. Then we'll do player animation, then we'll do the camera stuff. And that'll feel good. So I'm gonna stick on. I've got these two temporary levels I made. I'm just gonna delete those, and I'm just gonna call this testing level. Let's reload it because we renamed it. Let's go to our game data. Where's my inspector? Inspector, why are you not here? Where did I close you? Testing level, okay. So just so we don't have the messy stuff we don't care about. Bad to have these ghost files we want to delete but don't. What I have done is I've actually created some art assets using the self-titled Sprite. And Sprite is excellent for pixel drawing. Even someone with a limited artistic ability as myself can use it. When I have my drawing tablet set up, I sketch something, I import it over into this software, and then I do my best to interpolate at a much smaller resolution. I'm even on a trackball. In 20 minutes, I was able to make these sprites. So this is my wall sprite. Whoops, this is my wall sprite, and I was able to draw it with a nice loop because I know it's going to be tiled. So I drew it kind of in this mode where it tiles it in the software, which makes that very easy. This is my frog. I decided the main character was a frog. They really should have legs that like push out behind them when they move. Like that feels important for the frog. But I made the face at 16 by 16 scale, and I don't feel like changing the size of my sprite. So they're going to be looking like this. When they move, they're going to look like that. And when they hit the wall, they're going to look like this for just a little bit of time, and then they're going to go back to that. And then I made a much smaller, an 8x8 version for my icon in the UI, which probably won't look very good. But anyway. And I say these are Sprite files, but I was, for the frog, I actually exported it as a sprite sheet. So it's exporting as these three images next to each other. And we can see that in Unity. They look like three images. So I need to tell Unity if we brought this frog in, right, it looks blurry. It looks weird. Artifacts are appearing on it, and it's three images, not one image. So we need to fix that. We fixed that in these Sprite import settings. So I have these Sprite files. That's just my working files. I'll export out of there into here. In Blender, you can save your Blender file here and it'll get exported automatically. You can do that with Sprite with people have written third-party importers to import Sprite. Right. So my frog is at a scale of 16 by 16, so that's 16 pixels per unit. I'm going to pivot around its center. And then I want to have the filter mode in the import settings, just clicking on the PNG file here. I want the filter mode to be point. And if I apply those filter settings, now my frog should at the very least be at the right size, and the pixels should be sharp edged. But it's still three images, and I still have a weird artifact. So let's go back to the frog, and I'm going to change my compression to be none. And perfect high file size things. I change it to high quality, and that looks fine. Looks like it's still making some things. When you have pixel art that's like super small resolution, compression algorithms just don't work that well because they're looking for small bits of pixels that are similar to each other to like summarize and overlap. And they just they don't work for like super small images, and we don't need to compress it because again it's 3 kilobytes. It's very small anyway. Next size will be some multiple that of what is my 48. I think I need to be. We'll say 512. It won't make it. It won't upscale it and take up more space than it needs to be. So that's whatever. Overrides on different. We can compress them differently on different formats. Often compressing textures for WebGL if you're trying to do 3D WebGL. Do that here. And then the last thing I need to do is that's how you would do. I need to do the same thing for my icon. My icon is 8x8 point. No compression. Apply. And my wall is none 0.16 apply. But for the frog, it is also not just a single sprite. It is a sprite sheet. It is multiple sprites. Let me just Google this really quick. I should have brought this up at a time. Mario sprite sheet. Let's look at what like a proper sprite sheet might look like for a character. Your art team might provide you, or you'll get from the internet, files that look like this, which is huge for some reason, but that have all of Mario's animations laid out. Usually you would have something like this, where left to right they are laid out in the animation, frame by frame, and top to bottom they are laid out in different animations. That's a nice way to do it, but later, what you do is you pack them all up into smaller total image here, and it can be a much smaller size by being more efficient with your space. And when you're on an NES, you care about that. We're going to let Unity pack and do all of the optimization of our files, turning them into one smaller image, one image of all of our sprites that it loads up into memory once, and then just looks at different sections of it. We're going to let Unity handle that stuff. We can do some overpacking tag. We can do some other fun things with that, but we're going to change our sprite mode from single to multiple, and then we're going to open up our sprite. We're going to apply that, and then we're going to open up our sprite editor, and here I need to slice my sprite, and I can click and drag on its different parts, but that's silly. I'm going to automatically slice, and it's going to find one solid chunk, and that's not right. So instead of type automatic, we'll do size. These should be 16 by 16 with no padding in between them. Slice. Now I can click on this one and give it a better name than _0. Oh, it's underneath my head. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Okay. I have the different like actual sprites that Unity will recognize, and then the one PNG file that is being imported as multiple sprites. So this one is going to be frog normal. This one's going to be frog scream. This one's going to be frog frown. And we can apply that. Now, when we leave this window, it's just a floaty window. It wasn't like a whole new thing. When I leave this window, my frog is now a drop-down icon and actually have 3 different sprites that are the normal things to work with. Yeah. Cool. All right, in our level, we can go to our player and change their sprite from square to frog normal and change the color to white. Cool. And then we can go to our wall tile map. Our tile map here. And we can, we can override that one. This one. That didn't work. I didn't mean to, oops. I can't undo that. It is actually referencing the tile file, and that's my square, and I can just go in there and I can change it to my wall. But then now that's the wrong. If I delete this, I think I lose everything, and I can repaint it. referencing the correct asset because I have gotten rid of the bad one. Okay. So I'm trying to like design a level, but that's not important right now. Okay. My camera's background color is no longer good. That needs to be a lot brighter. Okay, can we turn off hide my canvas, hide, and change my background color here? Where is this? Whoops. Maybe it's fine. I chose a bad wall color. I chose the gray that's like the scene background. You can change the color of your scene background. I just don't remember how. Yeah, this looks real good. Okay. Higher order, layer, apply our prefab, Okay. What are my other overrides? The script is probably referencing player effect. I changed something. Okay. Cool. Well, that's beautiful. It doesn't look good. Let's change this color. Oh, it looks worse. I mean, nothing's gonna be good when you have some assets that are a tile and some that aren't. And my tile is a border on the top and not on the bottom. I am, and or on the right or left sides. I'm now realizing it's not very good. Yeah, that bottom is not going to be readable in like my grid space of like how big it is. But I don't care anymore. The point wasn't to make it good. The point was to show you some of the art sprite import settings. Where's my UI life indicator? Let's open this prefab up and change its sprite to the frog icon, and it's colored to white. And I think that's all my art assets. Now it's time to do some animation. My office hours are over. No one showed up. Okay. Yeah, there we go. We got a little. It's good. It's good. I love it. Okay. Let's do some actual animation. Window, animation, animate tour. And what's this in the game? Is it just like a frog? Let's go to our player and let's give them an. Let me just minimize this stuff because I'm in the way. Let's give them an animator. And we need an animation controller. So let's make a new folder for our animations. And we'll make a new animator controller, which is a state machine. And here it is. We have all of our states, entry, exit, and any state. I want idle. I want a state for impact. I move instantly. In my head, I was like, I need a leg animation, all that stuff, but I move instantly, so you wouldn't see any of that. So I really only need just sitting there and hitting a wall, right? Right? Okay. I'll add a at exit. How about at goal? Okay. So my idle animation will transition into my impact animation on a trigger event. And that trigger will be impact. And my impact will go back to idle whenever that animation is done playing. So we'll just have a default transition. So it has an exit time. Over here, I don't have an exit time. If you've never seen the animation system before, we're not going over it now. Frog idle, and idle will have the actual animation of idle, and the animation will not loop. Or will it loop? No. It's literally just one frame. So here's my animator. I'm editing the animation file, and I control which animation file is controlling properties on the game object via the animator controller. So I can go, let's close this tile palette, let's close the console. So I can go to the player, and with an object that has the animator on it, I can choose the animator. And now I can actually, with that object selected, I can like do stuff. Hold on, I want this over here. Okay. So my idle animation is playing frog idle, and frog idle is going to be, if I choose my player, my sprite renderer, I'm going to add a property of the sprite renderer where I change the sprite. Where is it? Alphabetical. And that property is, we're going to get rid of all that at the end, and it's going to be set to frog normal. So let me record myself. Okay. So now we need a new animation clip. Frog idle. Let's have frog impact. And this will, I should have just duplicated the clip actually. Frog impact, and it will, it plays that sprite. Going to hit the wall. Why can't I drag into here? Select the player. Gonna hit the wall for 2 frames, and then it's gonna go to scream for 1 frame, and then it's gonna go to normal after that. Maybe that's way too short. Well, I can just change the frame rate of the animation. Oh, I'm editing the wrong. This happens to me all the time. I'm editing the wrong animation because I need to assign the animation here and the animation controller. Then I select a game object that has an animation controller, and then the preview will let me choose between animation clips that are in the animator controller. God, I kind of hate this system. So I frown for a few frames. You don't need to assign repetitive frames. Then I scream, and then I'm normal. Wait, how do I change the frame rate? It's in here somewhere. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, so we're idle. On this impact trigger, we will go into our impact animation. This will play out. When it is over, which I think will be at this frame here, it will go back to idle on that exit time transition that has no other properties. Let's just test it and see how it looks. So the player effects script is handling that because we have a hit wall here. So let's do a private animator, void awake, animator equals get component animator, and then on impact we can set our properties that let the any properties we have, we can set them, and then it can sort itself out. And we'll do set trigger impact. Is that capitalized? Yes. If we don't have a, if we get the name wrong, it's going to be wrong. Okay. Let's test it. It's so small. We're not transitioning out of our animator. It's because I never told it to transition out. Transition will be ignored and needs at least one condition or exit. Well, we need to add a impact. What's my state? I'll leave play mode and fix that. That got saved. Impact. And then I think I just need to change the transition timelines to be instant because they're sprites. It shouldn't blend between the properties. It should just be one. I think it worked. I blink at the beginning because impact was on at the beginning. And then when I hit the wall, I blink. So if we turn that off as a default, cool. Let's make one more at goal. Assets, animation, frog idle, duplicate, frog at goal, and we'll set echo to that, and we'll transition into it from any state, from idle or impact or any state we want, and the condition will be at goal. And then we'll do the same for dead. Frog. Rename sad. 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 We'll have a condition for game over. And that will be sad. And then I will edit these properties to be different. The sad one will be frowning. That'll be that. Nope, I just changed the idle animation. Gosh, the sad one I want to be frowning, and the at goal animation I want to be screaming. Or we could have it like blinking wildly. That looks bad. That looks. I mean, everything looks bad. Kind of the point is to look bad, but that's not really the point. Okay, and then And then we're going to need a reference to the game manager. And you're thinking to yourself, there's got to be a better way than to run this slow function on all these objects. And there it is. And then you're thinking to yourself, there's got to be a better way than to use this an update loop. And there it is. What did I call these? At goal and then lowercase game over. I need to set it equal to true. Can't just set it. Okay, set equal to true. And then from any state, no matter where we are. Please, please, my tea has gone cold. I'm going to transition when I am 1 to true, and then here I'm going to transition when game over is true. And then hypothetically, we don't really need to transition out of there. It's cold. My tea is cold. Unity's taking too long to load. Okay. So what's nice about this workflow is having the animation. I'm sad because I'm dead. I win. This transition does not have an exit time. This state. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Great. Let's take a look at our to-do list here. Place wall graphics. Done. Make custom sprites. Did that. They're great. Player animations. Done. So the good thing about this workflow is we can go and make the art look good. I like to use temporary art assets, but set up animation and get like the state machine of my animator running when I have a good idea of what the animations will be. And that allows me to then go back and like add movement and add all sorts of fun, fancy stuff. And just by updating the PNG files and my assets, and then like my life is good. Okay. I'm not an animator. I'm no expert. My game looks hideous, beautifully hideous. Let's add, we have two things we want to do. We want to do the camera stuff and we want a restart button on the UI. And we do that, we'll be done. We'll be done. So our canvas, well, no, let's not do the restart button yet. Let's do, I never do a goal. Let's do the camera. So we could write a camera follow script and it would be fine. But why don't we just use Cinemachine instead? Because it's really good at working with cameras. So it's a package that Unity created, smart camera tools for passionate creators. And let's import it and let's use it for our game because I'm lazy and I don't want to do that work. I'm going to go insane. Why is my computer running slow? $100% of my CPU usage? What are you doing? You're only using like 3 gigs of RAM. Like it's not. All right. I just have like a ton of background stuff going on. I like recording this video, probably. It's not an easy thing to do from a computer. Okay. Cinemachine. We need to add a virtual 2D camera. And it needs to impulse listener. And we need to follow the player. And I think if we give the player tag, the player a player tag, we don't need to drag that and set that up all the time. We can have the Cinemachine brain do that. Don't remember. Cinemachine impulse source. I don't remember how impulses work. Okay, but anyway, for the camera, where are my tools? We're using this framing transposer on all of its default settings to follow the player and keep the on a lag. So we probably want that to follow a little bit faster. So we can increase damping or decrease damping. Let's test it. If it's taking 15 seconds. Okay, well, I freeze when I go into the game over state, probably because of all that camera loading, canvas loading things. There's ways to improve that. But I'm calling that good enough for now for the camera system. By being zoomed in, we can, or by being zoomed out, we can zoom our camera in. By moving the camera, we can zoom our camera in now. Which for certain level design objectives, like we may not want to do. So what we want is, we don't want to show off this dead space anymore either. So we need to use a confiner. So we want a camera. What do we want? We want a world bounds, and we want this object to have its own layer so that we don't sample it, because we're going to use a collider to define this shape. Camera confiner, and we'll add a box collider 2D to this camera confiner and a composite collider. I think it needs static. Composite. Edit, and it will be that. And then our camera, we will add a confiner 2D. We will work with our world bounds. Polygon collider 2D. Composite collider 2D. Didn't I add a composite collider 2D? If I move this up above that and then drag the game object on, does it find the correct object? Yeah, it's just finding the first collider 2D. Oh, I hate Unity sometimes. Okay. So now that should confine the camera bounds inside of that collider shape. And because we put it on its own layer, it shouldn't, our samples, our like overlap points shouldn't return true. So if I go to the top left or top right, I'm bound. A little bit of wiggle, but it's nice. Okay. Cool. So all of this stuff is going to be in an empty game object. Unlock that, call it camera system position it at 0, 0, 0, and make that a prefab so that I can bring that into just override the boundary size, and then everything else will work. Okay. And it follows, we just have to assign the player every time. There's got to be a better way to do that. Is that an extension? Find player. Okay, impulse listener. Time to Google how the impulse listener works. I didn't need to Google it. All I had to do was click on this little question mark icon. I brought up the manual. So I need a source or a signal. I need a signal of some kind. That looks like it's an object. The camera object was a true camera shake, and add a component, add a impulse source. And then I have that shape of the signal, which will tell it how the camera will move. And then probably some public function to actually like send. Let's do it. Okay. That's the player. And they're going to be in a Cinemachine impulse source. Okay. Impulse type, uniform. Impulse shape, bump. Feels okay. And it has a direction, which I should set to the direction of the player movement. Then player effects. Private Cinemachine impulse source impulse. And then we hit walls. We should be able to say impulse dot generate impulse with velocity. Serialize, grab that in awake. And then it should send out some signal, a default signal with the velocity that I've given it. And then I just need to tell the player movement what movement I was moving in, what direction I was moving in. Why can't I test it? Play mode only. Tooltips. I'm learning via tooltips. I used this once before, like maybe 3 years ago. Cinemachine's changed a lot since then. It even looks like they're It just worked. It just worked. It just worked. Isn't it nice? It just works. It just works. I mean, I'm sure we can go in and edit a lot of things like the bump shape. We can make it faster, like 0.1. And rumble custom. You know, we can change it. But feels pretty good to me as is. What did I change on this? Just the follow. Okay. And player. What are your overrides? Apply all of them. Don't be the screaming by default though. That's just going to be in the editor. The animator will override that immediately. Okay. In progress and done. Camera follow and done. Restart button on UI. Okay. Canvas. I believe I hid the canvas, didn't I? Nope. I just have these objects disabled. Let's look at the lose panel. Its image right now is background, but that's actually, its edges are like rounded, right? So as a full screen thing, I want to just give it a flat square just to be a color. I think if you give it nothing, it'll just be a solid color. So we'll do that. We'll do the same for both. This canvas, we're going to want to make a prefab, but we'll do the finish edits first. Okay. Let's add a button to the victory panel that says next level, and let's add a button to the lose panel that says restart. So victory panel, right click, UI button, and we'll have this one be next level button. And then we go to the button, we go down to its on click button, we click and select it. We need to reference an object. What object controls our level manager? Our level list does. Hey, level list. Go to the next level. That easy. We're changing our game, right? Next level. And then let's duplicate that and move it into the lose panel. And then close the victory panel. Turn on the lose panel. Did we fix our borders? We did. And this will be the restart level button. And we will restart the level. And if you're wondering how we're going to do the main menu, you just make you just do that one. And change the text to retry. It's that easy. That easy. We did the groundwork. We did the groundwork previously, and now we're reaping the benefits. And that's where we want. That's where we like to be. That's why we do all that work. Next level. Awesome. That's I think that's all I'm gonna do. Let's do the main one. Let's just do that again. Let's literally just do that again. Let's add a canvas. Let's add a text. Wall slammer escape frog. Game name. Parentheses final.tst. That's the name of the game. That joke, I hope, is funny for someone other than me. Okay. And then let's add a button. And let's make this one nice and big. That's a weird way to do that. Get good. I'm losing my mind if you haven't noticed. And we'll choose the level list. Start new game. And then now we can disable the loader. Start with the main menu. this script assembly loading. I have strategies to make this faster. Not in this video. Okay, good. Sound, level design. You know, the easy part. In 4 hours, we were able to make an entire game, but it's not fun and it doesn't look very good. It would take at least another 4 hours to be designing levels. I wanna be sitting there designing levels, adding things, testing it, playing it, watching someone else play it. I want to give myself that as much time as possible by just prototyping super fast and just letting people play with it, right? We don't need to make the level loader. We don't need to make a main menu. We don't need to worry about that stuff until but the sooner we can get alpha testing our games, the better. But anyway, let's prepare the main menu should prepare you for the fact that it's bright. It shouldn't go from black to white. And you're like, okay. Let's make the button green. Wall Slammer Escape Frog. Game name final.psd. Great. I'm done. I'm it. So in this video, it was kind of a devlog. I didn't really explain how everything I did worked. I didn't teach you the animators or animation systems as if I'm an expert qualified to do that. I didn't teach you how to make these go faster by changing around how the Unity reloads things. But we got Cinemachine using for our camera impulses. I just Googled how to do the stuff. We got a level manager. We can make some multiple levels. Yeah, I mean, we don't, teaching the game about the player about the hat thing or the whatever it is, like the Celeste extra jump thing, life thing. That would be tricky. We'd want to spawn a particle system that goes, "Bee, you did it." But we're not. That's it. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed. If you watched this far, thanks. I mean, or not. It's not no. What am I trying to say? Thanks isn't the right word because the expectations were set that you didn't have to. So what I mean to say is huzzah. Okay, bye.